Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. My name is Lee Cara, and this is Meet the Author. I'm so excited today. I have got the most interesting gentleman on with me today. His name is Raymond K Houston. Welcome, Raymond.
Hello, hello.
I am so excited to have you on today because your story is fascinating. So, Raymond has written a book called Woven Celtic Knots. He's literally created a new way to do this for people. I am super excited to find out all about Raymond because Raymond is a quilter and a textile artist and a designer in all of these different ways. So Raymond, tell us a little bit about how you came to this tradition and how you came to be interested in Celtic knots.
Well, I started sewing on a dare when I was a sophomore in high school. One of my classmates, her mother made a lot of clothes, and like, oh, anybody can sew. Well, let me see you do it. And so I went to the little public library, read everything I could, and hand stitched a shirt, a Buccaneer shirt, and wore it to school. I go, I made this. Well, she shut up.
Yeah.
But I'm the oldest of 7 children, 5 boys, 2 girls. So there was no shortage of models in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And I convinced my parents to get a better sewing machine, and I started making clothes for my family. And this went on through high school. And when I graduated high school and moved away, I actually taught my father how to sew. And he took over sewing for my family once I left home. So 1976 is America's bicentennial. And I'm thinking, oh, what to do? And I thought, how about a quilt? And I was thinking quilting as being Americana, not necessarily patriotic, but Americana. And so I back to the library and read everything I could on quilting and started my first quilt and never looked back. I've been quilting since 1976. So it's been kind of cool. It's been a lot. It's been way cool.
Yeah.
But I'd always been fascinated with Celtic knots and the way they weave and they twist and they turn and always come back to the point you begin at. But traditionally, quilters use bias tape, fabric cut on the bias, and it's about a 1/4 inch wide, which is fine if you have a little knot. But if you make something very large, this 1/4 inch bias tape ends up looking like a spider web spread over a large area. And so I wanted to do something that was more large scale, that I could see from across the room, that's a Celtic knot.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, I was kind of playing with pictures and looking at different sizes of knots and going, well, the only thing different between these knots is the size of the shapes. And I kind of broke a Celtic knot down into individual shapes. So this is an example of how I used to do, put this here, all right.
There you go.
How I used to do my knots. And each piece, like here and here, it's an individual shape, an individual piece. So I was cutting them out one by one and then arranging them to make this shape with a little space in between. So it looks like more or less like a stencil. This was great. This was great because now I can make a Celtic knot in any size I wanted, small, large, and in between. I was sewing for a man who made liturgical vestments, and he was like, "Oh, this is great. We can incorporate your Celtic knots in like a priest stole," which was great. But this method was labor intensive because I'm cutting each of these pieces individually and placing them individually. And I was like, no, it's great for art, but it's not suited for production. And another problem is there's sometimes a bit of alignment problem from the end of this to the beginning of this piece. And I was like, well, how do I fix that alignment problem? And what came to me was, well, you put in the piece that's missing in between, the part that is actually going under this.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, oh, well, that now means instead of a bunch of little pieces, I'm now cutting one continuous piece. It's a loop. And then the loops can actually be woven together. So from that, I come to this.
Wow.
Where there are actual loops. Here's, and you weave them together. So it's a woven Celtic knot. Now, a closed loop is a closed loop. So you have to cut it open somewhere. And these are cut open at some point where, say, this is going under this piece.
Gotcha.
Cut it open at that point, and that allows me the freedom to move it and weave it and then hide the cut ends underneath, where it's not seen. So people go, how do you do that? And magic. It's not magic. It's not magic. Anyone can do this. Anyone can do this.
Yeah, so clever.
So from there, I decided, well, let's write a book. And part of it was kind of along the lines of doing a Celtic knot stole with my employer, but as it was, I left his employ long before I got into this book. And so I wrote the book. And this is actually a piece that I did using the templates within the book.
I think I have some of those. Let me bring that up into the broadcast. That's actually my favorite one. I have a couple of them here that you sent me. Yes. This is that one, correct?
Yes.
It's absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. And the fascinating thing in looking at this is that one of the things about the book is that you're teaching people how to do it, but you say they can use paper, they can use ribbon, they can use so many different items to create this as an artist, even to paint it. Seeing the way that you have put these templates together, by the way, if you get Raymond's book, there are 17 templates in this thing. Absolutely incredible, the knowledge that you're sharing in this book. And I love how you can use it in so many different ways. And I've seen on your Facebook page, Raymond has a Facebook page for his quilting, Nacho Grandma's Quilts. And he actually recently, I saw that you were auctioning off some of your sample pieces. And I was so close to if you still have those, put them back up because they are gorgeous.
I'll do that again. I'm going to do another one.
Absolutely. They're so beautiful. And I find it fascinating, your story about all of this quilting. Raymond has a website and you guys can go on there. He's got a great blog. I read through, 10 or 15 entries on all kinds of different information about quilting, not just the woven Celtic knots, but a little bit of everything and you're a very humorous writer. I enjoy writing what you've written. And so you guys can follow his blog there, and you can also order the book on that site, correct?
Yes, you can.
That's beautiful. So are you still actively quilting?
I am. I currently am working on a commission for a man who gave me his blue jeans and neckties. And so I'm making a quilt out of recycled blue jeans and neckties. The neckties are like sticking out of the back pocket, like little
cute
bags. And so that's been kind of fun. I also, I'm teaching this class, this course in woven Celtic knots at several local quilt shops. And I also do it for quilt guilds. And I do presentations where I have about an hour-long trunk show where I have a suitcase and I just start pulling out quilts and telling the stories behind them. And the Celtic knots is a recent thing. My earlier quilts were patchwork.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually designed a patch that is, I want to call it universal, because I take the one patch and I rearrange it and recolor it. And I've been doing patchwork with this one patch for over 25 years, but no two quilts look alike because
Wow.
with I read about symmetry. I learned symmetry and how patterns are formed. And so this patchwork is symmetry based, and it happens to also form tessellation. So they're interlocking shapes.
Yes.
So in a way, you could call me the MC Escher of patchwork quilts.
That's fascinating. See, now I would love to see you bring this online and do some quilting classes online.
That's a thought.
There you go. See, okay, out there, if you want to see Raymond do a class and you want to sign up because you can't get there in person, comment under the video and we'll get him doing that. I want to thank you so much, Raymond, for coming on with me. This is where you can purchase your own copy of Woven Celtic Knots. Absolutely fascinating stuff. You are like a spatial relationship, absolutely the Escher of the quilting world. I really appreciate it. And Raymond's book is published through Blue Dragon Publishing. And if you are a writer and you want to get your book published, reach out to Blue Dragon Publishing. They are absolutely fabulous. I want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you so much, Raymond. Have a fabulous day, everyone.